answer my question, Mr. President. 280 billion in 2023 GAA, 349 billion under the 2024 GAA, and another 371 billion under the 2025 GAA. Now, ito po yung follow-up na question. Meron po ba kayong naipasok o na-adapt sa amendments para sa flood control sa Antique or any area in the country? You will agree with this representation na meron talagang anomalous projects pagdating sa flood control?
Yes. Yes.
Speaker Lacson is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Will the distinguished lady from Antique, Malabon, Makati, Batangas, Cavite, and the Republic of the Philippines yield to just a few questions?
Yes, I would be more than willing to yield to the questions of my former Vice Chair of Finance who used to interpellate me even if he was a Vice Chair. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. While this representation is not as passionate in advocating for a safe environment as the distinguished lady from Antique, still, I can relate with their passion, especially after the widespread flooding that we all recently experienced, if not read or heard about in the mainstream media or social media platforms, different social media platforms. Of course, this was highlighted by the President Sona, particularly on the graph-ridden flood control management projects that were implemented in recent years. My question is, if we will apportion the causes of floods, limiting our analysis to the Philippine setting, if the pie is represented by numbers like 100%, what percentages can we attribute to, number one, climate change, number two, neglect, indifference, or apathy, and the third is graft and corruption?
Thank you for that question, and I must say that these are all convergence and intersecting issues. Let me just state number one. Natural hazards need not turn into a disaster if we are prepared. Yung mangyayari pong mga delubyo at mga bagyo ay mangyayari, maski tayo ay hindi ang sanhi na bansa. Pero kung tayo po ay handa at tayo naman ay handa, ay hindi po ganyang kasama ang epekto kung tayo po ay sumusunod sa mga batas. But we cannot oversimplify it and say maybe 50% natural hazards, but 50% because we are apathetic or we are corrupt or we simply do not follow the laws. Let me just state. So first, the natural hazards will happen. But that's why there is such a thing as climate mitigation and especially adaptation for a country like the Philippines. For example, we have early warning systems. Do we follow these early warning systems? Second, we have vulnerable populations living by esteros, canals, riverbanks, or by the sea, which are in no-build zones. Do we actually implement the multi-hazard risk maps or the hazard maps? May color violet, we're not supposed to build infrastructure there. Do we actually follow it? Up to the regional, provincial, even barangay level, are these maps distributed and explained to our people? Is this followed at all by the DPWH and the DepEd? So early warning and then the use of hazard maps. Third, as simple as having roadside ditches or canals. Sometimes I see barangay roads which don't have canals. Siyempre, aapaw po because hindi na-construct ng tamang klaseng kalsada, maski ba maliliit. Pang-apat ay yung sinasabi kong basura. Bakit may nakitang mga sofa at mga tires sa mga pumping station? It does not belong there. It does not belong to rivers, lakes, esteros, and canals. It belongs to a material recovery facility based on the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act. All the infrastructure that are built must adhere to strict structural integrity assessments. And if it is not done, pag hindi po ginagawa ng maayos, pag may substandard po ang pag-construct, pag may corruption po, which will lead to substandard construction, babagsak po ang tulay, mawawasak po ang dike, maanod po ang mga tahanan, mamamatay ang tao, at mawawalan ng kabuhayan ng mga tao. Kaya tama po kayo na ito'y kombinasyon ng natural hazards pero kayang sugpuin at bawasan ang masamang epekto sa mga tao kung tayo ay handa at sumunod sa mga batas at totally eliminate or reduce the corruption so there is no substandard infrastructure that is meant to protect our people. But I cannot say 30-30-30 or 50-50. I'm sorry, it would be difficult for me to put percentages because it actually overlaps.
No, I'm
So,
referring only
yes.
to the Philippine setting.
Yes,
Mr.
even the
President.
Philippine setting. I would say that corruption and inaction
Plays a
and
major role.
plays a major role. And let me just belabor the point. Yes, I would like to say less than 50%. Sabi mo 30%, but this is really just my wild guess. 30% yung natural hazards, yung bagyo eh. Pero may batas tayo, pinopondohan ng batas. Kung hindi natin susundin at kung yung suporta at resources at pera na lilalaan sa mga infrastruktura ay mawawala or mangangalahati, siguro yung 70% ay dulot na rin sa ating kapabayaan at ang pagwalang bahala at sabihin natin sa katiwalian. So, what I'm saying is that in a perfect world, in a utopian world, lives need not be lost and livelihoods need not be lost the way it is happening in the Philippines if we did not allow it to happen.
Yes, yesterday, Mr. President, the President announced that he has already received a report from the DPWH regarding the anomalous flood control projects for the past 3 years. Do you have any idea how much has been appropriated during the last 3 years for flood management, for the flood management program?
I don't have it offhand now, but that would be readily available first by DPWH and perhaps the Senate LBRMO office would have that. I was no longer chairman of the Committee on Finance at the time, but it would not only be DPWH, perhaps the NIA would also should submit the reports on irrigation.
No,
because
all flood management program related projects, Mr. President.
Yes. I don't have it right now of 23, 24, and 25. But that information would be available with the Senate LBRMO, with the Congress Budget Office, and perhaps during the committee hearings of DPWH, they could answer that appropriately.
Well,
of the 5 trillion budget, which went to public works regarding flood control projects.
Well, let me answer my question, Mr. President. 280 billion in 2023 GAA, 349 billion under the 2024 GAA, and another 371 billion under the 2025 GAA. Now, ito pa yung follow-up na question. Meron po ba kayong naipasok o na-i-adapt sa amendments para sa flood control sa Antique or any area in the country?
Let me state that very clearly. Ang Antique ay may mga lugar na nababaha. I wish I could have the possibility of doing an amendment to help those areas.
But you did not.
I'm not certain I have because I did not participate actively in the Finance Committee, neither did I join the BICAM. In short, baka hindi po na-adopt yung aking mga amendments. But I would like to state this, sa mga lugar na nabaha ay hindi naman masama ang flood control. Pero dapat ito ay science-based, aral sa engineering at sa sensya at hindi po ginagawang money-making ng marami. Yun pong ibig ko sabihin. Ito,
Okay.
meron silang binigay pero maliliit na mga flood control projects sa iba't ibang lugar pero sinabi ninyo yung mga numero.
That is under the Senate version, Mr. President?
Yes.
Only under the Senate version.
I don't have the numbers now of
Your reference is the GAA for 2023,
yes.
2024.
As I said, I don't have the numbers now of 23, 24,
I'm more
and
interested
25.
in the insertions made in the Senate, Mr.
Oh,
President.
I would not be at liberty to say that, but perhaps the chair of the Finance Committee then, who received all the amendments, but she's no longer with us now.
Go ahead, Mr. President.
Yes. So
Please.
what I'm saying
Kindly
is that
share with us the figures that you just received from the page.
oh, this is engineering district. Yes, yes. What year is this? 2025. Valderrama, Sibalum, and San Remillo. Yes. And there are amendments. Very good. This is for this year's amendments. Yes.
In what area, Mr. President?
In Antique.
Antique.
Thank you for this information. Did this come from my staff? Yes.
How about in other areas?
I don't have the other areas, but these are flood mitigation structures protecting public infrastructure. And I would be more than happy to see how these are implemented
Yes.
by the engineering district.
That brings me to the next question.
Yes.
Have you monitored the progress of those projects?
No, not yet. I have not seen any monitoring yet. Both the region and the district must be able to give reports. And thank you for pointing that out to me.
So kung insertion, hindi ba naka-PISARO yan? For issuance of SARO? Or FLR for that matter?
Honestly, I do not monitor the PISARO or follow up the DBM, and you can check that we never follow that. But it is important that when we give amendments, that if this is adopted, that we must monitor it. But sometimes the oversight function is lost along the way among the national amendments that we do in different provinces.
Yeah, I was thinking kasi dati po kayong chairperson ng Committee on Finance, and maski pa paano, you might be able to monitor during the plenary debates, or even during the committee hearings, kung ano yung mga insertions na nagawa dito sa Senate in the 19th Congress.
I was chairman from 2015 to 2019, so I would not remember those amendments, but I would be happy to learn and to find out how these are monitored and the implementation. In fact, to do not just a financial audit, but actually a performance audit of how these infrastructure projects were implemented.
And I'm sure you'll be as interested as I am to read or to know the President's, the action that the President will take after he received the report from the DPWH, because
Yes.
it is nice to hear the President make those remarks during SONA,
Yes.
even to a point na mahiya naman kayo.
Yes.
But taking action or the follow-through action is the more important thing to us, di ba?
What's important is that we find out in the 81 provinces which are the most vulnerable that need real flood control. Because we cannot say, hindi kailangan ng flood control, because as someone who has studied disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptation, even the construction of roadside ditches or canals is important. To be fair, and even let's say slope protection, it's been demonized by the poor implementation of some or many in different jurisdictions.
But you will agree with this representation na meron talagang anomalous projects
Of
pagdating sa flood
course,
control.
yes, yes. Let
Meron
us-
din mga ghost projects that you have monitored while you were chairperson of the Committee on
Oh,
Finance.
ghost projects, I'm not able to say to be definite about it. I don't think as chairman of the Committee on Finance then, I would coordinate closely and ask the Finance Committee or the DPWH, ghost ba yan? No, I was not able to monitor any such ghost project. I could not do that.
Yeah, for your information, I did my some preliminary research work. I fielded some teams to areas that are suspected to have some projects, and I tasked my teams to find out kung ano yung status ng mga projects. And this is subject to validation. One such project had an appropriation of something like 190 million pesos in 2023. When we check with the GAA, meron naka-indicate na completed. It's just a sitio. Very small. Sitio is smaller than a barangay, di ba? So, pinahanap kong pilit, hanapin nyo nga yung flood control project na sa 2023 na sinasabi sa GAA completed. So, hanapin nyo ko nung itsura ng project. When they came back, they reported to me, sir, wala akong project.
How would the district engineer and the regional director explain that there was
That's
a
the reason why,
GAA provision?
of course, as I mentioned, subject to validation. Kasi baka hindi napasadahan yung buong sitio. But if they did, then obviously, this was a ghost project in 2023. Worse, meron na namang appropriations, I think, in under the 2025 GAA, dalawang items. In the same sitio. hundreds of millions of pesos na naman yung... So, what we were suspecting initially, ghost project noong 2023, pwedeng pinonduhan para gawa ng project para mabura na yung 2023. But we intend to get to the bottom of this project and find out who, if indeed this was a ghost project, we intend to find out sino yung responsible. And I'm awaiting the report of the President to the public based on the report submitted by the DPWH kung kasama itong natuklasan namin, na-discover namin. That's only one item, Mr. President, but you know, there are tens of billions of pesos worth of flood control projects in that same locality, a bigger area.
May we know the name of the province?
Suspension, Mr. President. I might deliver a privileged speech or I might take it up during a committee hearing.
I'm almost certain it is not my home province of Antique.
It's not in Antique,
although we need,
Mr. President.
to be fair, we need a lot of flood control
Kasi
mitigation measures.
Kung sa Antique, Mr. President, I won't be talking to you.
Yes. No, but to be fair, the implementation of flood mitigation measures has been demonized. Kamukha kami, sa maliit na bayan ng Sebaste, may hanging bridge na wasak nung nakaraang bagyo. Ang mga DSWD at mga staff ko tumawid ng ilog na naglalakad. Pero hanggang ngayon, dahil sa gitna ng taon, ay walang panggaa at napakahaba ng proseso sa NDREAM Fund para itayo yung bridge. Nabaha yung barangay, cut off from the mainland, but it's difficult for me to help them because there's no provision for flood control or even a regular bridge or a hanging bridge. So maraming nangangailangan at na-demonize yung pangalan na tinatawag ng mga proyektong flood mitigation measures because of wrong implementation, to put it very diplomatically, in many areas.
Well, are you with us in pursuing a more transparent
Of course.
budget process from the committee hearings all the way up to, all the way down to the bicameral conference, every step of the way?
Mr. President, we filed Senate Resolution number 1. And I hope, I won't read it, but may we include that into the records of this conversation and interpellation. That the contents of Senate Resolution number 1, which asks for budget transparency, be observed, and I hope that it could be adopted.
Yes, because at the rate practically everyone is gearing towards a transparent budget process, you know, in this Congress particularly, or in this regular session. I think we can more or less mitigate yung insertions because legislators will be more reluctant to insert projects that are not coordinated with the agencies that will implement those projects, simply because they will be identified.
Yes.
If we have a transparent budget process or legislation process dealing with the budget.
Yes.
For 2026.
I think from the very beginning, Mr. President, the budgetary process entails that the amendments of lawmakers must be aligned with what perhaps a district engineer or the LGU have discussed and have requested of the lawmaker.
But the problem, Mr. President, is even before the approval of second reading, hindi natin alam kung sino yung proponent ng mga amendments. Because these are not taken up in the plenary.
It should be taken up and there should be a more transparent process.
So you're with us,
Of course.
particularly with the new chairman of the Committee on Finance, Senator Geralds, because he requested the members of the minority to co-sign a joint or concurrent resolution to have a transparent budget process.
As I said, we filed, I think 7 of us, a budget transparency resolution. And today, I supported the chairman of the Committee on Finance in the resolution by party, majority and minority, in budget transparency concurrent resolution.
So we both agree that when we tackle the 2026 National Expenditure Program and we come up with our own version, the Senate version, even scrutinizing the House version, the GAB, that we will open everything to the public and to the media.
We should
Walang
open...
taguan ng amendments, especially during the BICAM. Will you agree with me if we pursue utmost transparency,
Yes,
especially
Mr.
during the BICAM, Mr. President.
That is the essence of the two resolutions which we have signed, and that is what we should have passed with the bill that I co-authored with you on the budget process, that the request must emanate from the local governments, having been reviewed by engineers and going up to the Regional Development Council. I think we discussed that 8 years ago when I was chairman of the Committee on Finance, and that's how we've always tried to make our amendments. But you're correct, if everything is seen, kakulangan ng classroom, sabihin mo na may flood control, may dike, kailangan talaga. At kung yung district engineer magbibigay ng ganong request, kung ano man ang kailangan, may irrigation, kung talaga naman kailangan ng irrigation, paninindigan na mag-aamenda ng budget.
I'm very happy to hear that, Mr. President, because at least after the President castigated the all of us, as a matter of fact, during the fourth zona, siguro naman magigising na tayo sa katotohanan na mahiya naman tayo.
Mahiya naman tayo
Na
lahat.
mag-insert ng alam naman natin na hindi alam ng implementing agency.
I agree with you, Mr. President. Mahiya naman tayo. Una, ang tagal na nandyan ang batas. Pangalawa, may pondo naman at hindi tayo mahirap na bansa. Pero matagal na naghihirap dahil hindi napapatupad ng ayos at ang iba ay napupunta sa katiwalian.
I will not belabor the issue anymore, Mr. President, and these matters will be taken up during the committee hearings of the budget deliberation and even in plenary. So let's wait and see kung talaga magiging transparent tayo lahat.
I think the
At
fact,
least in the Senate.
but the fact, Mr. President, the two resolutions have been filed already. One by the minority and second, initiated by the majority, the chairman of the Committee on Finance, and signed by the minority as well. There's no reason why there should not be transparency in the budget process.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, and we see how the issue of climate has intersected with the issue of budget transparency. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, sir.